Let's review how to add whole numbers. Now, when we add two whole numbers, the numbers that you're adding together, so in this expression I have 3 plus 5 equals 8. The 3 and the 5 are the numbers that I'm adding together. They're called the addends. And the 8 that we get out is called their sum. Now, one of the cool things about adding two whole numbers is if I were to reverse these two numbers and I were to write 5 plus 3, that still gives me 8. This is actually known as the commutative property of addition. It says that the order in which we add numbers doesn't affect its sum. So we do this a lot when we're adding, as we might move the numbers around or group them in certain ways in order to make the computations easier for us to do. So let's talk about adding whole numbers. Now, granted, you probably have a calculator available to you. Everybody has the calculators even on their cell phones. But I think it's important that you know how to do some very basic calculations. Not only does it just help with mental flexibility and understanding about numbers and how numbers are put together, but also sometimes you can't rely on technology. You might not necessarily have it. Maybe your cell phone is dead. Maybe you're somewhere where you walked away and you have to put two numbers together. You know, sometimes it's helpful just to be able to grab a piece of paper and a pencil and just quickly jot something down and not always having to go to technology when you want to, for instance, add two numbers. All right, so while you have your calculators there and you are encouraged to use them, the key thing is the calculator, I feel, should enrich your learning and your understanding, not be a supplement for it. In other words, the calculator should never do something that you cannot do on your own. Could it maybe take you longer to do it? Maybe it takes more mental energy to do it? Yes to all of those things, but you should never have the calculator do something that you don't understand how to do it yourself or what your calculator is doing. All right, so let's quickly review how to add two numbers. So I want to add 426 and 61. So here's where our understanding about place value comes in use. We want to make sure we're adding numbers in the appropriate place. So when I go to rewrite this number, and I'm going to leave kind of a little bit of space between the digits, because when I go to stack the 61 underneath here, I want to make sure that I put the 6 in the tens column and the 1 in my units or my ones column. So we add numbers that are in the same position or have the same place value. So then we're going to add going down. So 6 plus 1 is 7, 2 plus 6 is 8, and then 4 doesn't have anybody to add to, so that gets just dropped below the line. All right, so to add those two numbers together, we get 487. All right, very cool. Now, our number system is a base 10 system, which means every time we get over 10 things in a position, we actually spill over into the next place value or the next spot. So let's talk about what that would look like in the process of adding. So sometimes that process is called carrying. So the next thing I want to add is 4,187 plus 694. So again, I'm going to go ahead and stack the two numbers. So 4,187, and then I'm going to have the 694 underneath it, and I want to add going down. So the first thing I want to add is the 7 plus the 4. So that would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm going to put down the 1 and 11, but I'm going to carry the other 1 into my 10 spot. Right? 11 has 1 10 and 1 1. So I'm going to leave the 1 here in the 1 spot, and I'm going to carry the 10 into my 10 spot. Now I'm going to add the numbers in my 10 spot, not forgetting about the 1 that I carried. So the numbers that were already there was 8 plus 9, which is 17, plus the 1 that I carried would be 18. So in the number 18, I'm going to leave the 8 here, and I'm going to carry the 1 into the next spot. So now that 1 is in my 100 spot. So let's add the numbers that are in that column. So 6 plus 1 is 7, plus the 1 that I carried is 8. So I'm just going to put an 8 down. There's no carry on that one. And then again, this 4 doesn't have anything to add to it, so I'm just going to bring the 4 below the line. So adding those two numbers together, we'll get 4,881. So if you're adding, you can even add a whole string of numbers. So let's add 6,432 plus 139 plus 54 plus 17. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and start stacking the numbers, leaving a little bit of space. This is where it helps to be nice and organized and to make sure that we can see our columns very cleanly. All right, some people like to even pull out graph paper just to be super clean about having the numbers in a certain column. So I want to add all of that stuff going down. Okay, so first off, we're going to start on the right and work our way over to the left. So on the furthest right-hand column, I've got the 2, the 9, the 4, and the 7. All right, so putting those numbers together, the 2 and the 9 give me 11, the 4 and the 7 give me another 11, and 11 plus 11 is 22. So in the number 22, I'm going to record the 2 down here in my ones column, and I'm going to carry the other 2 into my tens column. Okay, so there's my 22, so 2 tens, 2 ones. Now I'm going to add the numbers in the tens column. So 3 plus 3 is 6, the 5 plus 1 is another 6, so 6 plus 6 is 12, plus the 2 that I carried is 14. So I'm going to put down the 4, and I'm going to carry the 1 into the next column. So now I'm in my hundreds column. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus the 1 that I carried is 6, and I'll carry down this 6 that was already here in the thousands column. Doesn't have anybody to join with it. So then my final answer is 6,642.